Oh, I like that comp. I hadn't thought about that. A 6'9" version of Ricky Rubio, that would be insane. I mean, the passing chops, the rebounding ability.
Wes, you've mentioned a couple times now that you are lukewarm in that mid to late lotto range, but who are some of your favorite guys, probably in that like 7 to 15 group?
I like Franz Wagner. I think he's I don't think everybody sees a potential star, but I think he's one of those like star role players. He reminds me of Nick Batum. I think he's going to be just like Nick Batum, as like a 6'9", 3-and-D wing who can also be a pick and roll facilitator. And we never think of Nick Batum in his prime was like a really valuable player, even if he didn't have the star label or power. But I think if he goes to a right team that can optimize his versatility at both ends, I think he's going to be a steal in this draft, because he's not going top 5. He's going to go in that later lottery range. Jalen Johnson is a guy who I've heard, Jalen Johnson was supposed to go top 8 in this draft, and he still could, but he really just didn't help himself this past season. Leaving Duke midway, created even more questions, because in high school, he changed high schools a couple times. He got to IMG and was supposedly kicked out. We don't know why. And so I happen to like his talent. I think he's like a top 10 talent, no question. I think he could slip because of some of these personality questions. And sometimes those are overstated, sometimes they're not. But if he gets his head on straight and he gets the right support system, I think he's going to be a steal in this draft too. 6'9", 220, open floor playmaker, awesome around the basket, rebounder, switch defender. I'm high on him, and I think his shot can be capable enough to complement the rest of his game. And I like Josh Giddey. Like I said before, I think I'm told from his camp that he's 6'8.5" in socks. And so if he's close to 6'9", 6'10", with his ball handling and passing, to me, he's like a big Ricky Rubio is kind of the comparison. And if he goes to the right team where he can also play to his strengths as a facilitator, I think he's going to unlock a lot of guys around him. 18 years old to lead that league in assists is pretty impressive. And so Giddey is somebody, to me, I'm pretty high on.
Oh, I like that comp. I hadn't thought about that. A 6'9" version of Ricky Rubio, that would be insane. I mean, the passing chops, the rebounding ability. If he gets just a little bit more consistency with his three-point shot. So this is actually an interesting thing. I want to ask you about this. So I've watched him play a fair bit as well, and I see a lot of people are knocking like the shot mechanics. I see somewhat of a slow release, sure, but I don't see something that's fundamentally flawed. So what's the criticism about in regards to his shot?
I don't think he's a great free throw shooter, which raises some concern. I'm not like the craziest shot doctor guy. Like, we've seen guys with wacky mechanics be good shooters. Right. Nothing I see is totally worrisome. And also, because of his height advantage, he can afford to be a little bit slower on that release. Like, I don't know who's going to be guarding him at the next level, but they're certainly not going to be 6'9". And so nothing about his shot worries me. Do I think he's going to be like a 40% shooter? No. But I think really people look at his free throw percentage and wish it was higher. And the volume, he doesn't take a ton of threes. But there was a stretch this season where he got hot and he made a couple a game for 2 weeks straight. And so, no, he's never going to be a knockdown shooter, but I think he can threaten defenses enough, again, to complement the rest of his game. And he's not out there to score 20 points. And I wouldn't bet on him ever even approaching that. But I think his value is going to be felt in other ways, as a connector type who just makes the game easier for everyone, gets the offense flowing, easy shots for teammates. A great kid. I mean, he's just so much fun to listen to talk about the game. And so for those reasons, and we're talking about a late lottery pick, so he doesn't. We have to lower the bar in terms of his scoring potential. But again, for the right team that has enough shot makers and scorers around him, no big deal if he's a 35% three-point shooter.
Right, and he's more opportunistic scoring-wise.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I asked the question about the mid to late lotto guys, in part because I'm curious about Golden State in particular. We already talked about Orlando being a potential trade-up candidate with 5-8. Golden State sitting there with 7-14. After the season, they are on record, like to a man, basically saying, we want guys who are ready to win now. Like, it was kind of a shot at Wiseman. Like, they don't want, guys 3 or 4 years down the road, that's when they're going to really start to find their footing, because Steph Curry is still in his prime. Klay Thompson's coming back next year. Draymond Green's at the tail end of his prime. Like, they are very much in a win now window. So are there guys who in that range that you think could just be plug and play right away, ready to help them win? Or do you think they'd be better off trading one or both of those picks for some win now vets?
I'm not a big Corey Kispert guy, but I think if there was a team that would get the most out of him fast, it's Golden State. I mean, he's extremely mature, 6'7", 220, arguably the best shooter in the draft. And he does it. He's got that quick release, and not just catch and shoot, but like off movement, quick trigger transition stuff. He was also the number one transition player in terms of points per possession in the country. And so he just knows how to capitalize without needing a lot of dribbles. And I think that's kind of perfect for Golden State's lineup.
And he knows to play with great players. I mean, he played on an absolutely stacked Gonzaga team, so it would be a seamless transition.
Yeah, it would be an easy transition. He knows just another really smart guy. Will know his role and will pick things up fast there. And just if Myers is not just blowing smoke, and he really does want immediate contributors, Kispert's to me the target at 14. I like Moses Moody as a fit because he's such a good off-ball scorer. Another guy, he was top 5 in the country, top 5 freshman in the country in scoring. And only 10% of his possessions combined were pick and roll and isolation. Like, everything was spot up, offensive rebounding, transition, opportunistic stuff. And I think that's kind of what you want in that offense. But it wouldn't be shocking if he needs, a year or two, kind of the way Devin Vassell did. Vassell is kind of the comparison we've used for him as a 3-and-D guy, and he struggled badly in the NCAA tournament. It wouldn't be surprising if he needed a year to get comfortable physically. But that style of play, to me, fits Golden State.
Yeah, I've seen pretty much everyone, all the fans of people, or fans of teams in that range that I follow, everyone seems to love Moses Moody, so I'm glad you touched on him there.